So in part 1, Okeke cheated on his wife Amaka just because she was fat after giving birth to their daughter. Let's find out what happens in part 2. So later that night, when Okeke came back home, he was so happy, especially when he noticed that his wife had left with their child. Okeke became very free. There was no need sneaking out to see his mistress Chichi in secret anymore. Instead, he invited her over to move in with him. So Chichi began to live with Okeke even though they were not married. She moved in with him, and in less than 1 month of living with him, she pursued all the housemates out of Okeke's house because she was scared that one of the maids would steal Okeke from her, just the same way she had stolen Okeke from his wife Amaka. For the first few months, Chichi and Okeke were all lovey-dovey. Everything was going on just fine between them. Okeke never even remembered that he had a wife Amaka. It seemed like Amaka had been completely erased from his memory. But a few months later, Chichi found out that she was pregnant and she was so happy. She decided that she was going to do things very differently. She was careful with what she ate. She decided that she was going to make sure that she did not gain any weight like her predecessor so that she doesn't lose favor before her husband Okeke. In her first and some parts of her second trimester, everything was going on just well. Chichi did not even add any weight. She was still looking okay. But from her fifth month, things began to change and began to change very rapidly. Because after Chichi was done eating her meals in small portions, she would begin to shake as though she was possessed by the gods. And she would quickly run into the kitchen and start eating from the pots. Chichi did not know why she was always hungry. She could not even control herself. This was beyond her. She was eating non-stop, and this made her sad because she had lost complete control over herself and she did not want to become fat. But unfortunately, it was only a matter of time, and then Chi began to get very fat. At this point, she just gave up. She no longer even tried to watch what she ate. She had gotten fat already, so she just continued to eat carelessly. Okeke at this point was getting very frustrated. Is this a curse? Why is it that my own women get too fat when they are pregnant? And from the look of things, it seems like Chichi's own would even be worse than Amaka's own. It looks like this one will be way fatter than Amaka. Ha, I'm in trouble. Anyway, let me try and see if she would change if I talk to her. Okeke said aloud to himself. So he went to meet Chichi one day and spoke to her saying, Babe, Biko, please can you stop gaining so much weight? Okeke asked looking concerned. And immediately, Chichi landed him a very hot slap on his face and then said, It's like you are mad. Like there's something wrong with you, Abi. You think that I'm that your useless wife, Amaka, that you made her life miserable because she was fat while pregnant. You had better not try that nonsense with me, else I will deal with you. Am I the one that made myself pregnant? I mean, don't you know that pregnant women get fat? You had better caution yourself. Caution yourself. Advise yourself. Else, you will not like what I will do to you. Useless man and no fear. Chichi screamed and then got up and left angrily. Okeke just sat there, looking shocked. He had never seen this side of his mistress, Chichi, before now. A few weeks later, Okeke began to change towards Chichi and began to keep late nights. He did it the first few days, and Chichi did not say a word. But one day, he came back home, and to his surprise, he saw an angry pregnant woman waiting for him. As soon as he entered, she began screaming at him. Oh, you want to keep a mistress outside, Abi? Just the same way I was your mistress when you were married to Amaka Abi. It will not work. Oh. It will not work with me. Let me kukuma tell you on time. Look at me very well. I am mad. I am not well. I am not okay one bit. I will just kill you with one small poison and you will die. Chichi said, screaming angrily. Okeke was shocked, but even more scared for his life. He was afraid that Chichi would actually keep to her word and actually poison him. So from that day onwards, Okeke began to respect himself and began to come home early. He did not want to be poisoned by his mistress. He also made sure not to keep any side chicks outside. Okeke was scared for his life. A few months later, and Chichi gave birth to a bouncing baby boy, and she was so happy. But just like Amaka, she continued to eat and gain so much weight because of her hormones. But this time, Okeke was too afraid to even think of confronting her. He could not confront Chichi about it. But aside that, if the only issue that Okeke had with his mistress was that she was fat, then it would have been good. It would have been okay. Because just as Chichi got fatter, she got stronger. And she began to beat Okeke blue black. Anytime Okeke and Chichi had a misunderstanding, instead of Chichi to go and start crying or start praying and fasting for God to change her husband, Omo, Chichi would use her big body to beat the hell out of Okeke. At first, Okeke had tried to beat her back, thinking that he was stronger because he was a man. But he was surprised when his wife beat the hell out of him and gave him so much bruises all over his body. Okeke was so ashamed that his wife had beaten him like a child. He knew that he could not tell anyone, not even his closest friend. If not, they would all laugh at him and mock him. So when Chichi, on the other hand, realized that she was stronger than Okeke, she began to beat him at the slightest provocation. As a matter of fact, she turned him to her housemaid. So when Okeke left for work, Chichi would just sit at home, eating like a fool. She would consume several plates of food and litter the whole kitchen with dirty dishes. She would also keep the whole house dirty, untidy, and scattered. The whole parlor would just be littered with things like feeding bottles and pampers everywhere. Everywhere was just so dirty. And Chichi would sit in the midst of that dirt with her baby. Chichi did nothing all day than to watch TV in the parlor. And when Okeke was back from work, he would have no choice than to start cleaning up the whole house. He would clean the parlor, wash all the dirty dishes, and even still wash the clothes. Okeke was frustrated but was too afraid to confront his mistress for fear that she would beat him up. And when he was done with all the domestic chores, despite how tired he was, considering the fact that he had worked all day at work, then still came back home to clean the whole house, he would have no choice than to go into his bedroom and fulfill his marital obligations towards his mistress Chichi. If not, he would receive another round of beating. Okeke was frustrated. He was always tired. Every day, he looked forward to going to work just so he could escape his mistress. And at this point, he regretted why he let his wife Amaka go. He never knew that he was jumping from frying pan straight into the fire. At least Amaka's only crime was that she was fat. Amaka was a good girl. She had character and gave him peace of mind and respected him and allowed him to be the man of the house. But this one here, Chichi, was giving him hell. She was also fat and yet was still beating him on top. She was dirty, she choked him and did not give him any breathing space. Rather, she ordered him around like a boy. He wished he could go back to his former wife, but knew that it was not possible because Chichi would rather kill him before she would let that happen. Okeke was always very tired and would even shed tears in secret. Meanwhile, Amaka, on the other hand, had gone on with her life. As a matter of fact, Amaka had changed and had lost a lot of weight. She channeled all that anger and frustration from Okeke's betrayal towards her into her personal development. Not only did she lose so much weight, but she also upgraded herself by taking online courses, and then she landed a very good job. And as if that was not enough, Amaka met a handsome man named Chinedu. Although he was way older than her, she did not mind at all. He loved her and treated her like an egg with utmost care. Meanwhile, some years later, and it was another Valentine's Day, and again, Okeke's company decided to host a Valentine dinner and told members of their staff to come with their spouses. This time, Okeke did not even think twice, unlike when he was married to Amaka and was contemplating whether or not to go with her or someone else. In this particular one, he knew that if he did not go to that dinner with his mistress Chichi, that she would kill him and would have his head on a platter. So despite the fact that he was embarrassed of Chichi because she was very fat and overweight, he had no choice than to go to the company's Valentine dinner with her. But this time, Okeke refused to dance. He just sat beside his new fat mistress Chichi, who did not even care because she was busy eating and drinking. And just then, Okeke spotted a very beautiful, slim young lady dancing with his boss. He was very surprised because he knew that his boss was a widower and had refused to date anyone else after his wife died about 10 years ago. So seeing a beautiful lady dancing and whining her waist with his boss was quite surprising. And just then, he recognized the lady, and it was his former wife, Amaka. He immediately screamed out her name, Amaka! And Amaka turned and simply stared at Okeke and eyed him from top to down, and then continued her dancing with her man. Chichi was also shocked to see Amaka and to see how beautiful she had become. Okeke went back home that day frustrated and sad, thinking about his life. He regretted leaving his wife Amaka. He wished that he had been more patient with her and waited for her to agree and see the need to lose weight. He realized that although his wife had one flaw of overeating, but that she had several other good characters that he should have focused on rather than magnifying her fat problem, her weight problem. He also understood now that being fat, among many other hormonal issues, are one of the issues that many women have to deal with and suffer after childbearing. And that while it may be easy for some women to lose weight quickly, it would not be so easy for some others. And he wished that he had known better and had been patient with his wife. Now he was stuck with Chichi, who was not just fat, but was also a man beater and had turned him to a maid in his own house. He realized that the devil one knows is better than the angel they do not know. He wished he could turn back the hands of time, but it was too late. He knew that he couldn't even dare go back to his former wife Amaka to beg her, because she was now with his boss. And if he dared as much as speak with her, he knew that his boss Chinedu would sack him and he would lose his job. And he definitely did not want that, because he knew that if he dared lose his job and was not able to provide for his mistress and their child, that Chichi would make his life miserable and beat the living daylight out of him. So whereas Okeke spent the rest of his life in misery with his fat, lazy, dirty mistress, Amaka found love again and was happy again. and she eventually got married to Okeke's boss Chinedu, and they spent the rest of their lives together in love and laughter. Hi besties, it's your favorite storyteller, Omalicha. Thank you so much for watching my story to the end. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. Do you think that Okeke deserved what he got? Like, do you think he deserved ending up with a man beater? That's one. Now, secondly, why is it that men who are abused in their relationships or marriages are afraid to speak out? They cannot tell even their best friend that a woman is beating them. Why does this always happen? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section. And please support your home girl, Omalicha, by subscribing to my channel, liking my videos, and sharing with your loved ones. So now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories, bye!